you do want to offer something, but we've got 20 minutes to try and get through it. Hopefully we'll pick up on where any errors were made. Okay, so this says 4 times something, then add 6, and the answer is 18. So what we need to do is figure out what was it before I added 6. So we have 4x's add 6. If I take away the 6, equals 18 minus 6. That leaves me with 4x's add to equal 12. 4x divided by 4 is equal to 12 divided by 4. So 1x has to be. Okay? This is all stuff like you were rattling through those on the computer the last couple of days. This one, all right? 2d is d. So I am going to subtract a d from that side, and I'm going to subtract a d from this side. That leaves me with negative 3 equals d plus 1. I'm then going to subtract 1 from both sides. Leaves me with d equals negative 4. Now, one thing I will point out here. Do you notice how every single line I'm doing makes perfect sense, structure, one after the other? Some people have got into the habit of doing something like, I don't know, let me just rewrite it. I'll only do this once. But some people have been doing, I'm going to subtract 1, and I'm going to do negative 3 subtract 1 equals negative 4. And they put that line in there. Now, is that a correct statement? Yes, yeah, it's a correct statement. Negative. Is it relevant to what we're doing in the question? Yes, it's all good. But it does lead to something that's going wrong. And what you've done is you've separated this, all right, from the question, which I didn't do here. What that leads to is then, I think one of you specifically has this method regularly. Pick apart and do things separately and then write it down. But when you put things back together, you're forgetting things, or you're not putting it back in the right order, and that's leading to mistakes. So that's why I really suggest don't separate things like that. Keep it all one step under the other. Okay. Next one, 9 times f is 72. So we need to divide both sides by 9, and we get 1f must be 8. This one I chucked in because it's a tricky one. Even though it's the lowest level, it has its difficulty, and the difficulty is that this is a positive 7 and we're subtracting. So if I rewrite this as positive 7, and I hope you remember once I showed you when we were collecting like terms that we can box these things off, right? Now that's a minus 2e and this is a plus 7. So what do I do to remove the plus 7?
Subtract 7.
We need to subtract 7. And a lot of people were adding 7 because this was 7 minus. But the minus was on the wrong side. But that's a common. I knew I'd get some of you. Didn't know I'd get all of you. But, so this time I've got 7 minus 7 minus 2e equals 1 minus 7. This is the other problem. People go, oh, that 7's gone now. What am I left with? 2e. And that is minus 6. But what mistake have I made there? It should be a negative 2e. But people kind of go, oh, the negative's just gone. If you can never give yourself a reason why something has just gone, it probably shouldn't have gone. Okay? And then we divide by
Negative 2.
negative 2. It does, and we get the answer positive 3. Again, I saw someone did everything really good all the way down until the end. They had negative 2 equal, and they just went divide by 2, and the negative just miraculously disappeared. All right, and it became e equals negative 3. Things don't just disappear; something gets done with them. All right, so just pay attention to that. Level 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to subtract 2 z's. So 3 z's, subtract 2 z's, so plus 5 equals 2 z's, subtract 2 z's, plus 7. That leaves me with 1z plus 5 equals 7. We then subtract the 5, plus 5, subtract 5, 7, subtract 5, that gives me with z equals 2. Okay. So, like I said, I'm rattling through to get through the video. Watch it afterwards if you've got more questions. But basically, remember the balances, yeah? Remember we did the scales, so I've got a z, another z, another c, and then I've got a weight that has a 5 on it, and on the other side I have a z, another z, and a weight that has a 7 on it. Alright, so basically what did I do when I subtracted 2 z's? I basically went, scrub 2 off, lift them off both sides. What am I left with? 1 z and a 5, that's this bit, and just a 7 on the other side. Make sense? Good, okay. If you're going to say sure, then I'm going to go with that. Right. But that's basically the principle behind all of this, isn't it? That we talked about right from the beginning. We also had the function machine method, but the function machine method doesn't work quite as well when there's unknowns on both sides. So what would this one look like? Well, I think I put up here, you might need to collect like terms first. Now, what are the like terms? Well, 6t and minus 2t. So first of all, I'm going to simplify that to 4t's plus 3 equals 9. So I've not done any elimination at all yet, I've just simplified it. No, you don't have to. I would suggest it makes it easier. And what do I do now? Now it's like having the balance scale. If this is the way you like to think about it, it's all good. A t, a t, a t, a t, and a box with 3 on it. And then on here, a box with 9 on it. So what do I do? Subtract the 3, so scrub that off. But what do I have to do? Subtract the 3, so that leaves me with 4t's has to equal 6. And then we have to share, so that becomes a 6 now. We have to share the 6 between 4t's. So we do 6 divided by 4, and we get 1t has to be 6 shared into 4 pots. What's 6 divided by 4? It's 1.5. You did that on your calculator, all good? But you see why? Okay. Like I said, if I am rattling through too quickly, your job is to review this over the weekend in the video. Press pause, take your time. Okay, we've got to collect like terms here as well. 9g and negative 6g, as well as plus 3 and minus 2. There's no simplifying on this side to be done. But what's 9g's minus 6g's? 3g's. Positive 3 minus 2. Positive 1. That's equal to minus 2g's plus 8. Okay. So now it's a bit harder to think of negative g's on a balance scale. So we just have to think about the same method. So what would you do? Should we subtract the 1 first? Get that out of the way? Okay. That leaves me with 3g's equals negative 2g's plus 7. Now we've got to deal with the negative 2g's. How do we deal with that? Good, we're going to add 2g's to both sides this time, because negative 2g add 2g is 0. So we're left with just the 7 on that side, and on this side it's 5g. Then we divide through by 5, share the 7 between the 5g's. We get 1g is 1 and 2 mix, which is 1.4.
2.5.
Okay, so again, same. Now, I'm not saying that that won't be considered harder. Obviously, in the 3 to 4, this would be the 4. Having decimals and things like that, but why is having decimal answers not really a problem for you in this test? You have a calculator. That's part of it, yeah? Unfortunately, you're all going to be prepared with your calculators at the end of year, yeah? I don't have it. Next year, I've asked to have a class set of 10 calculators available to be borrowed, but I don't have it this year. And you were told at the beginning, make sure you have it. This is where it comes down to it. So if you haven't got your calculator sorted, a question that is no more difficult suddenly becomes a lot more difficult because you didn't have the calculator. Yeah? But the method hasn't changed. Some of you, though, still need to do a bit of practice with your negatives. I'll definitely say that. Okay. Inequalities. Remember, as Charlie mentioned to Alyssa, we can treat it like it's an equal sign. So I would just do f plus 6 minus 6, pretend it's an equal sign, minus 1 minus 6 gives me f minus 7. So I'm telling you f is greater than minus 7. So down here on the line, we would have minus 7. We have a circle. Do I fill it in or not fill it in? Don't fill it in. And I want f is greater than, so that's that way. Yeah. Okay. W minus 8 is less than 2. So what must W be if I minus 8 and get an answer less than 2? Well, if we add 8 to both sides, we get W must be less than 10. All right? Or equal to. What does that look like on the number line? Put a 10, put a circle, fill it in because it's and equal to, and this time we go left because W has to be less than 10. And just to show you, give me a number case that's less than 10. So if W equals 9, is 2 greater than or equal to 9 minus 8? Or 2 would hopefully be greater than 1. Yes, I'm good. That's what for a couple of you, that inequality symbol just seems to throw it like, if I put an equal sign there, you would have done it. Absolutely no problem. But as soon as there's an inequality sign, it's like that. No, not to do. Even though we did it literally the lesson before the assessment. But that just shows how we've got to review and we've got to say when we're not understanding something. Okay. Getting slightly harder. Levels 5, 6. Anyone want to tell me what you would do here? Brooklyn?
So first, there's 2b, 5 by 5 plus 10. You put that in brackets, and then do like in brackets and then 5 fourth. So then it cancels out.
Okay. All right, you can sit down. It's not what I would do, but I'll go with it. Let's see. So I think what Brooklyn's saying is he's going to put the whole thing in brackets like that and times it by 5
Yeah, and then
equals
8 times.
8 times 5. Now here's this is good. The brackets thing is a good idea. So what does that then become?
That becomes 2b plus 50
Good.
equals 40.
Equals 40.
And
Because
then
he's done 5 times that, gets rid of the divide by 5. But we must also, Chase, pay attention to the board, not Charlie's face. That rhymes, didn't it? That rhymed. Pay attention, Chase, not to Charlie's face. And 5 times the 10. Good. Next thing.
so plus 50, you subtract 50 from
Yeah.
both sides.
So plus 50, subtract 50 from both sides.
That leaves you
2b's equals
negative 10.
negative 10.
So then you subtract.
Divide by 2. And we get b equals negative 5. Sorry, I can't, unless you got the same as Dash, you have no reason to not be paying attention now. No reason whatsoever, especially not to disrupt each other. Okay, there is, however, another method. Let me just show you this one quickly. I'm perfectly happy with that, Brooklyn, by the way. No problem, absolutely no problem. But another method would have just been to subtract 10 first. Gives me 2b's divided by 5 is minus 2. Then times by 5. Gives me 2b's equals negative 10. Then b equals negative. Yeah? Either or. Whichever way. I'm actually impressed, Brooklyn, doing it that way. Quite often people would have done that and left it plus 10. You didn't do that, you did plus 50. I've got plenty of more than 5s that not realise that. That stays. Good? Alright. Solve the inequality. Now this is pretty much like the equation we did before that Mackenzie said that I slow down on. But remember, let's treat that like it's an equal sign. So just at the risk, I'm going to write equals. Hopefully this doesn't mess you up. What would you do if it was an equal sign? First, Alyssa, what would you do first? Why would you divide? Why no times? Give me a reason for it, and I'll do it. No reason? This is the guess. You forget. Brooklyn.
So what you do first is you'd add 3 to both sides. Wait,
Add 3.
sorry, subtract 3.
No.
What? Yeah,
He's sort of right. He's forgetting something, Bo. What's he wanting to do?
Maybe you could get rid of the 4 and the 5.
Okay. Just I'm going to do that, but okay, that's what I was thinking. Subtract 3 t's. Yeah. I can do that first, Brooklyn. I can subtract 3 t's. Gives me negative 4, 3 t's plus 5.
And then since it's plus 5, subtract 5 from both sides.
Subtract 5 both sides. Gives me
Equals negative 9 or yeah, equals 3t.
yeah.
And then simplify those.
Gives me 1t equals negative 3. Now, here's the thing. That equal sign is not there. I just said we could pretend it was there. So what do I need to do? Put that symbol back in. So t is actually greater than negative 3. So I'm going to put a negative 3. My circle is open. And the arrow goes to the right because it's greater than. Okay? Okay. Just quickly, so it's in the video, stay with me, don't pack up. I'm going to do what a couple of people did, expand the brackets first. Lots of people got this right, actually. Please don't wait. 5k's minus 15 plus 2 equals 3k's plus 3. Lots of people got that right, by the way. Simplify that bit, so that's 5k's minus 13 equals 3k's. I'm going to subtract 3k's, gives me 2k's equals 0. I'm going to add 13, gives me 2k's equals 13, which means 1k is
6.5.
6. We've made a mistake. What did we not do?
It was, second line. It's about,
What did I forget to write?
it's 3.
Plus 3.
Yeah.
So I should have
It should be
2k's minus 13 equals 3. Then I can add the 13, gives me 2k's equals 16, which means 1k equals 8. 1k equals 8. I remember, so that answer's wrong, that's why. Which is why it's so important to write everything out, because that was not an intentional mistake, like most mistakes are. That was a genuine mistake. How did I spot it? So I printed everything out. Yeah. Rightio.